All right, everybody, we're about 5 minutes away from Kentucky players. 5 minutes. Thank you. All right, we've got Tyler Hero, Ashton Higgins, and Keldon Johnson from the Kentucky Wildcats. A couple reminders here. Please, no video on cell phones. Photos are fine, but no video. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We've got about 10, 15 minutes with the guys here. We'll start off with some questions. Who has a question? We'll get a microphone your way. Who wants to start us off? Well, I can start us off, I guess, then, guys, if nobody else wants to. The season, a fantastic run this season, but it ended a little shy in the SEC tournament. How do you guys bounce back, and what's it like to be back in the NCAAs again?
I mean, it feels good just being able to get another shot. Of course, like you said, we fell short a little bit in the SEC tournament, but we just regrouped and refocused and locked in, and we're ready to go now.
Any questions? Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. How about on the far left? Yes.
When you guys all made the decision to come to Kentucky, it was probably in part to have moments like this. Now that it's right here, how does it feel to get ready to play on this stage, and do you guys feel prepared for the moment?
I think it's a dream come true for all of us. Obviously, coming to Kentucky, the coaching staff, and just being at Kentucky is going to be, the biggest stage in college basketball. So, we're just happy to be here. As a team, I think we're ready to go, and I'm just ready to attack this tournament.
I would say, it's a dream come true. Just growing up watching this on TV and now getting the chance to play in this tournament. It's a big-time thing, and we're just ready to come and play.
Good question. Raise your hand, and we'll go on the left side here. Yes, sir.
Could either one of you guys just talk about how Calipari gets you to at this point of the year with the expectations and a lot, expected of you guys at this point, and what is the secret? I mean, what does he say? What does he? How does he handle? And how do you guys handle expectations of where you're at right now to try to win a national championship?
We've been just going hard all year, and at this point in the year, he always says it that we just have to fall back on our training, and I think that's a big thing that we do. So I think that as long as we fall back on our training, because if we try to live up to his expectations, that's exactly what it is. How he coaches us every day in practice, and so that's what we're used to. So that's what we just fall back on.
To you guys in the locker room.
Just a second, sir. Go ahead. The mic was off. Go ahead.
All right, we good. Sorry about that. What is Coach Calvin emphasizing to you guys in the locker room in preparation for the tournament and the first game tomorrow?
Like Keldon said, just play to our training. Be as one. Stick together as we on the court, and just go off our training.
Questions here on the far right.
How much of a difference has Reed Travis been for you guys? You're all freshmen. He's obviously a lot older, fifth-year kid. How much has he helped you in terms of maybe coming into a situation like this, even if he hasn't played in a lot of NCAA tournaments?
Reed's obviously a huge part to our team. It really hurt us when he was out for those few weeks, but I think the big guys got to, the guys that didn't get as much minutes, they got to come in and fulfill their role. So. Reed's been a huge part to it. Just being able to, he's a leader. Like you said, he's a fifth-year guy, and, we can look up to him as freshmen. But he does a lot of things that don't show up in the stat book. So, we're just, we're happy to have him. We're happy he's back and ready and healthy and ready to go.
It just all depends on the situation or what's going on. Of course, with him being so much older than a lot of us, we ask him for a lot of advice, and he's always guiding us through certain situations that happen in basketball. Whether it's we're down at a certain point or we're getting a little rattled, he's always just there to make sure we're good and bring us back together.
Got a few more minutes left. If you have any questions, raise your hand. Everybody good? All right, guys, thanks a lot. Good luck to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Coach Calipari will be out in just a few moments. Thank you. Yeah, we'll get him out. All right, Coach Calipari is with us now from the University of Kentucky. Watch your knee there, Coach. Sorry about that. If you could, just an opening general statement about your season and being back in the tournament as a 2 seed here.
We had a good run. The team's gotten better. They're coming together. We've got great kids. I mean, they share. It's not about one of them. It's about all of them. They all have worked. They're gym rats. If I go to the office and it's 11 o'clock at night, there won't be one in there. There'll be 4, 5, or 6 in there. They're into it. They've not been in this environment. We don't know how they'll react. I have a feeling they'll be fine, but, a lot of young guys.
All right, we'll get some questions. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll start here on the right side, and then we'll go.
John, can you just give an update on PJ's status? Is he here today, and do you expect him to play tomorrow?
PJ sprained his foot in the Tennessee game. We had him in the boot for a while. X-rays, everything was negative, MRIs. But we sent him to a specialist. Again, precaution. He wants to play. Well, if you know me, I'm like, wait a minute. Let's go get one more level of this. So we expect him. He's not here with us right now. He'll probably be here in an hour or so. But we sent him to the specialist to make sure that he can't harm himself. We expect him to play.
Next question. Let's go here on the right side. Yes, sir.
Coach Dusty Baker, KTAB News. You look at ACU, it's a very different team, obviously, in many ways, first time in the tournament, and then your program has established itself. Is there anything to be concerned about with that program? Is this just another matchup for you guys? Kind of what is your mentality going into this?
Well, again, I've been in this thing a bunch, and I tell you, it doesn't matter because everybody's 0-0 right now. You don't look beyond anything else. All we're worried about is Abilene Christian because they're good enough to beat us. I watch their games. I'm impressed with how they play both inside and outside. They defend. They make it hard for catches. They try to steal balls. They scramble the game up. They're good. They're well coached. Again, a 16 beat a 1 last year. There's been 15s that have beaten 2s. And so you just go in and you worry about yourself. Again, I'm trying to explain to these guys, you don't play to the opponent. You don't play to the tournament. You don't play to the TV or the crowd. You play to your training. If you can do that, you'll be able to do that for 40 minutes. If you do the others, you're going to be able to play for 15, and it's not good enough to win in this tournament. And again, I've been doing this 30-some years. I mean, it's play to the training, stay in the moment is the message to these young guys.
Let's go here on the aisle, then we'll go here next. Yes.
Nick Mantis, K-Texas News in Abilene. What do you see as you're looking at the game film? You're talking about how you want to make sure that you're focusing on yourself. Everybody has a game plan going in. What type of challenges does
you get hit in the mouth, and then that game plan goes away.
That's right. That's right.
Again, we've got to take care of the ball because they want to steal balls. They play aggressive. Their 5-man can shoot. So if you don't go play him, he's making shots. The championship game they played, he made the 2 threes that ended the game. It was their 5-man. So you look at this and say, they've got drivers. They got a couple guys that are making threes. They can stretch you out. They can get you near the basket. I mean, they're good. They're good. And defensively, they're not just giving you baskets. You're going to have to fight because they play. They're well coached.
Let's go here left of the aisle, and then we'll come back down to the second row.
Owen Simpson, ACU Optimist. Coach, you've consistently had success recruiting players that have a future in the NBA. How do your players on this team compare to the great players you've coached in the past?
Every team I coached is different, and I mean that literally. Like, I come in each year, and it's a brand-new team. This team is skilled, one of the higher skilled teams that I've had. This team has been able to stay in the moment and be about each other which in this day and age with social media, with the clutter around them, with the people, you know, the flattery they get, which is you're better than so-and-so, you should be shooting more shots. Why they hear this, the enable and being enabled, and to fight that, this team has done unbelievable. Is there an Anthony Davis or a Carl Towns, and they all get mad. Now, they want all 30 of them want me to mention them right now. Do you guys mind if I mention all 30? The $2 billion in contracts those kids make, I can do it if you want me to, but these kids are different. Now, they're professionals too. They're going to be in that league. But they're doing it together, and different guys are doing it. The one advantage we have with this year's team is Reed Travis. I mean, I've not coached a 23-year-old since I left UMass. And he is so professional in how he handles everything. Practices, preparation, training himself, and also getting his body right. So, you know, he's one of those guys. Now, he's not been in this tournament. So he's another one that you look at, other than PJ. The other guys really, Nick played a few minutes, but they've not been significant in this thing. So that's something we got to see, how it turns out.
On the second row here, and we'll go to the far left next.
Jerry Tipton, Lexington Herald Leader. I was going to ask you about Reed and how big of a challenge is it for him to stay focused with finally getting to the NCAA and then with the Final Four in Minneapolis, his hometown.
Is that where it is?
That's what I hear.
Wow. I grabbed him today. I said, you've prepared your whole life for this. And I said, have a ball, man. Have a ball. And if he relies on his training instead of thinking of all the, he will be fine because no one trains like him. And whatever you ask him, I can get on him, like really hit him, and he's fine. He never wavers. I mean, he missed a free throw last game, and I just screamed at him, make a free throw, and he made the next one. I mean, he's, you know, I've had a ball coaching him. I mean, absolutely, every day I walk in, he's kind of like I used to say with Jamal Murray, who would smile and make me smile. Every time I see him when I walk in the gym, Travis, I smile. You know, I know he's going to give us everything he can.
Far left, Coach.
Matt Jones, Kentucky Sports Radio. Your team's had a really good job at the end of games this year, making
Till
plays.
The last one.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. There were some uncharacteristic turnovers, et cetera. Do you look back at it? Well, I mean, one of them maybe could have been something else.
But there's stuff I can't say here.
And I can't either if you see the news. Is it possible that, is it just one of those things? Was it a fluke one game?
There were, if you looked at what you're talking about, go back and look at the tape. You may have a different opinion. And the second thing is, and I told them this, when you go through a season, you have to learn how to finish games off, which we have. You have to learn how to be down 10 or 11 and come back and win, which we have. You have to learn about playing fast, playing slow, playing against pressing teams. We played against a team that, thank goodness, played a 1-3-1. No one plays it anymore. But what if you get it in the tournament? And I've got all young guys. This isn't like, well, 2 years ago. No, they weren't here 2 years ago. So it's been a great experience in our league. There have been so many games that were won in the last minute for every one of our teams in our league. We got 8 teams in, and the other 2 were on the bubble. Like it could have been 10 teams. And every team played through this league, gave themselves a chance now to come in this tournament and do well.
On the aisle, to the right of the aisle in the middle, yes.
Jordan Huffett, it's Abilene Reporter News. You mentioned all the young guys that have played as many NCAA tournament games as ACU guys have, but when you wear that blue, when you wear that Kentucky, there are the expectations. Just kind of how do you manage the expectations and the pressure that comes with that UK on your shirt?
That's overrated. No one wants, they don't care if we win or lose at Kentucky. They're fine. As long as we really do the right stuff, we're okay. The one advantage that we have coming in to a tournament like this is every game we play is someone's Super Bowl, and 98% of the time the other team has nothing to lose. I don't care who it is. If you come to Rupp, you have nothing to lose because most teams are not going to win in that building. If we go to their place, they have nothing to lose, plus they have the fans. In this tournament, everybody has something to lose, and we're used to playing that way. So that helps us more than anything else. The kids, I think they're proud to be in the uniform, but I don't think it weights on them more than any other uniform. But they're proud, and they know what happened before them, and they know how every one of those players left this place better than when they all got here. And they know they all finished the term academically, which is why we finish in the top 10 in the APR, and they send us awards, which you guys don't hear about, every year because we're one of those schools that finishes in the top because the kids finish the term and do what they're supposed to academically. That's the culture that's been left, and that's the culture that you leave when you leave here.
Got about 5 minutes left with the coach. Let's go here on the left side and the middle first, and then we'll get to you next, and then Gene in the back.
John, Don Marcus from the Baltimore Sun. In terms of the way Emmanuel has played of late,
it's been great.
Is that just seeing the ball go in, or is it coming here and maybe adjusting to playing with guys who are as good, if not better, than him?
Emmanuel Quickly's probably improved as much, if not more, than anybody on our team. He's another one that lives in the gym. I'm trying to get him to slow his mind down. In this game we play, you can have your feet move real fast, but your feet can't move fast and your mind move fast. And getting him to slow down his mind so that he can read stuff better, that's been what we've worked on all season. He's getting better and better and better. From where he was defensively to where he is now, from where he is decision-making and shot-making and play-making to where he is now, not close. I am so proud of him and so happy for him. He and Ashton playing together, subbing for each other, it's worked out well.
To the left side, and then we'll go to the very back next.
Coach Grant Boone for CBS Sports and the ACU Sports Network. 30 years now for you at this level. Can you do
35 maybe. I know. I started when I was 8, but
do you have an appreciation, or can you remember like what Joe Golding is going through here, about to coach his first NCAA tournament game? I think your first was maybe your 4th year at UMass, maybe. Do you remember what that was like at all?
It took us 3 years to get to 500. And then I think we went in the NIT and advanced. We went and advanced to a Final Four, which this whole school went crazy because we were in the NIT and went to the Final Four. We didn't win it. And then the next year, it was year 4 that we were in the NCAA tournament. And Jim McCoy and Will Herndon and Anton Brown and Harper Williams, Tony Barbie, Lou Rowe, who was a beast. And I could name the other guys if you'd like, but as I get older, I do slip up a little bit. But that run and what was done during that time with those kids, and again, they shared, 5 guys in double figures, defended, tough, scream. We used to do screaming rebounds. When you rebounded, you had to scream. Like, you didn't just go grab the ball, ah! And the other team's like, these dudes are crazy. But we would do stuff and have a ball with it. And at the time, we didn't know better. I didn't know, until you get off your own campus and you're on somebody else's campus and you see, like, wow, you don't realize. But it was a fun time. And, yeah, I do know. It's an exciting time, and you want your kids to have a ball with it, and I imagine that's what he's trying to do. Let's have fun. We had nothing. Let's go. Let it go. Shoot the ball. So that's what makes it dangerous when you're the other coach. And that's what happened for us there. We played so hard and with so much enthusiasm that we won some games. Was that the year that we played Kentucky and we would have beat them, except there was a stepped out of the box in the Spectrum, I remember. See, the Spectrum had different colors because it was a Spectrum. And so if you were across the court like 62 feet away, you would have thought I was out of the box. But I looked down and I'm like, I'm in the box. You can't see the Spectrum, the lines. That's how we lost the game. And when did we beat them? The first game of 95. We beat them with, I think they had 11 NBA players on that team. Something like, oh, they got us back. Okay.
2 quick ones. We'll get you out of here, Coach. Let's go to the back and then to the far right.
Coach, Gene Fournette from the Florida Times-Union. In your 30-plus years in the business, can you recall the first time you crossed paths with Rick Byrd? And what are your impressions of the job that he's done taking a team from NAIA to Division I independence to now in the OVC?
Well, he and I are friends. I went up and was in his house this summer because I wanted him to tell me some 5-out stuff, some backdoor stuff, some shooting, because I thought we had a skilled team and I wanted to learn some different stuff. And we ended up spending an afternoon together with he and his assistant Tyler. But I've watched, we've had to play him. When I was at Memphis, he reminded me we played him, because I won't play him now. Like, don't call me, I'm not playing you. You're the most dangerous team in the country. No one knows how good you are or how good you coach. But I texted him last night after the game and just said I was so happy for him. When we play in Nashville, we go to Belmont to practice, and he always opens up the gym to us. And he's been so involved, not as a coach, we all know. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's 800 wins. He's ridiculous. But also for the game of basketball. He's been on the rules committee. He has spent time. And to be on those committees, it's like time consuming. He was an athletic director on the committees, coaching basketball. He finally gave up the AD stuff. He just wants a coach. He's a coach's coach is what he is. And he's great at what he does. Great for his kids. Has an unbelievable. He still has a fight and fire, but his kids love him.
Last one, Coach. We'll get you to practice.
And Spencer, WHAS 11. John, your reaction to the fact your players don't believe you could survive by yourself in the wild?
They truly don't know me. I probably would struggle wrestling a bear, but other than that, I could live off the grid. Well, when we watch the shows, I say, I could do that. And she busts out, you couldn't do that for 4 minutes. But no, I could. I really could. Really could.
Coach, thank you, and good luck. Thanks a lot. Coming up shortly, the Wofford players will be here at 3:30. That's about 13 minutes away. Kentucky practice at 3:25, about 8 minutes from right now. Thank you. We've got Wofford players coming in to join us for a few minutes before practice today. And Mike Young, the head coach, will be up next. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We've got about 10, 15 minutes with these guys here. Let's start off here on the right side. Yes, sir.
Jeff Zilgate, USA Today. This is for Fletcher. I want to go back to the beginning of the recruiting process. At the time, what made you believe that Wofford was the right place for you? And then the second part of it is, what's allowed you to become such a successful three-point shooter within the offense?
So the first part of the question, the recruiting process, I just felt that Wofford really wanted me and really valued me as a recruit. I felt, one of the main recruits and important. So I went up there and I visited, and I just loved the team, the culture, all the people about Wofford. So I committed pretty soon after my visit. So I just really liked everything. And the second part, I think, a lot of that is the system that we have. Guards coming off screens a lot. My teammates looking for me a lot. I think those are two main things. And then, obviously you have to work on your game and get in the gym and shoot as much as you can. So I think, the combination of shooting in the gym and getting your confidence in your shot, and then, having coaches run plays for you in the offense, and having your teammates, good passers, good screeners, get you the ball. I think that combination has, allowed for a lot of success.
In the middle and the back. Yes, sir.
John Alba, Spectrum Sports. Is for Fletcher as well. Having a chance to play the biggest games of your career essentially in your backyard, what does that mean to you?
Oh, yeah, I think it's really cool, just because a lot of my family and friends can come up from Orlando. Also, I actually watched Cam's freshman year. I actually watched them as a recruit play here against Arkansas. So to come back now as a player in the same site, I thought that was pretty cool, too.
Question, raise your hand, and we'll get a microphone to you. Here in the front. Yes, sir.
Clayton Freeman with the Florida Times Union. For Fletcher, and for you, closing in on this national record, I also know your high school career ended against a Jacksonville team in Providence 4 years ago. What would it mean to be able to sort of turn the tables and have sort of a career highlight come in Jacksonville if you're able to get that win out here tomorrow?
Oh yeah, that would definitely mean a lot. High school was a long time ago. I don't really think about that loss to Providence too much. To come here to Jacksonville and to get a win here in the tournament, 2 wins. It would be great, for all of us, for our team, our program, our school. I think that coming in here and winning could definitely be, something that we value and we'll remember for a long time.
Go in the back again, right behind you, Barry, if you don't mind. Thank you.
This goes to anyone who wants to answer it. Every year when the NCAA tournament comes around, there's always a team or a player that captures the country's heart. And Wofford has garnered some of that hype this year, and Seton Hall to an extent as well. When you consider something like that, how do you go about approaching a game and trying to find a sense of normalcy, knowing that people are out there looking for someone to believe in and someone to follow along throughout this tournament?
We're just going to try to approach it like we would any other game. The hype is built the past couple months of the season, so we've kind of gotten used to it in a way, but we're just going to try to approach it just like any other game.
Other questions? Let's go to the right side here, on the far right.
Cam, can you talk about being back here and the difference from last time, and being back here as a higher seed and your feelings about that?
Being back as a higher seed is not something that I don't think any of us are really thinking about. Nothing that I'm thinking about for sure. But it is cool to get another chance to play here, another chance to win here at this stage. It's just amazing to have another opportunity like this.
On the third row here, yes.
Clayton Freeman again with the Times. For Cameron, having had this opportunity 4 years ago as a freshman coming here against Arkansas, first of all, did you ever feel you'd get another chance at this, especially in this same stage right here? And, secondly, what is, I suppose, the sense of anticipation for you knowing this is this is one more opportunity, one more chance to go that one step further that you didn't get to do before?
I mean, yeah, it's really cool that we're back here. And Arkansas was a really good game for the team. We lost by 3, had 2 really good shots at winning the game. We're tying it to go into overtime. So it's definitely really cool to be back here. Always extremely thankful for opportunity to play another game, especially in the postseason. In a place like Jacksonville is another great thing that we are able to experience.
So sort of follow up on that, is there anything you've been able to do to maybe help your teammates adjust to what the atmosphere is going to be like here, what the experience is like?
We haven't really talked about it a lot yet, honestly. Just trying to enjoy the little bit of time that we've had together here, the experience that has already come about in being in Jacksonville, a part of this process. Just trying to really sit back and enjoy it and really enjoy being here in the moment right now.
We'll go in the back in the middle on the aisle again.
This one for Fletcher. You've garnered, obviously, a lot of attention over the past couple months, especially. But now that you're on this macro stage where all these eyes are on you and you know that teams are going to be looking at, especially for your abilities in particular, does that change your approach at all and open up any options for your teammates maybe in the process or affect your game in any way?
I don't think I'm going to change, my approach too much. I think that teams in our league have, played us for a long time and done some things. And I'm sure, teams that haven't seen us are looking at what they can do and strategy-wise and stuff. So I'm just going to continue to do, what I do, and we'll make adjustments from there. If they're maybe double team me off the screens, I think it can definitely open up some stuff for our teammates. But, we'll just kind of see how the game starts and then, just make reads and adjustments from there.
The New York Post called you Wofford's Steph Curry. When you hear something like that, what goes through your head?
Yeah, I know that, Steph has done, way more great things than I have and, was a better player. But, it's definitely high praise, but, I don't want to get too caught up into the comparisons and all that kind of stuff.
We have a couple minutes left with the let's go those 2 in the back right there. Yes, sir. Right there in the middle. Start off there, and then we'll go in the back. Thank you.
Matthew, can you just talk about what it's like to represent Wofford on this national stage? Such a small school that you're coming from.
Yeah, getting a chance to represent Wofford on the national stage is great. It's something we're all very proud to do, something we're all proud to put the Wofford jersey on a national scale. To do it in the NCAA tournament is the biggest stage, and I think we're all looking really forward to what's to come.
In the very back, yes, sir.
This is for all you guys. A Southern Conference championship over a UNCG team that a lot of people thought were in talks to get an at-large bid. What does that do? What kind of win and coming from behind in the second half, what does that do for you momentum-wise moving into this game?
Cameron, you want to start us?
Yeah, I'll start. I think that just any win against a quality opponent is going to give you a bit of confidence coming into your next game. But at this stage, everybody here has won at a high rate and is a very good and talented team. So we're excited to get another opportunity. I don't think we're really thinking about the past as much. I think we're confident that we can go out and compete, though.
Anything to add, guys, on that one? Any other questions? We've got a couple more minutes. Everybody good? Guys, thanks a lot. Good luck to you. Appreciate it. Coach Young will be out shortly. His scheduled time, 3:45, so about 6 minutes from right now. Thank you. All right, I've got Coach Young here from Wofford, and just a reminder, no video on cell phones. Photos are okay. And if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. Coach, if you would, just start us off with a general statement about your team this year, and welcome back to Jacksonville.
Pleasure to be back at Jacksonville. We have had a remarkable year to date. 29-4, I think it is. Went through a really, really good Southern Conference season with a number of excellent teams. Unscathed, which I'll never understand as long as I live. But it is a treat to be here. We've been fortunate enough to play in 5 of these in the last 10 years. 3 of them have been in Jacksonville. And I love coming down here. It's a pleasure to be back.
If you have a question, we'll start here on the left side, and then we'll move along. And we'll get here next. Yep. Right here. Let's start here on the aisle. Hey, John.
Mike, Jerry Carino from Gannett, New Jersey. What are your thoughts on Miles Powell? What jumps out at you most when you watch film of him?
If I watch one more video of Miles, he had just an elite score, and he's got all the tricks. I think in New York City, New Jersey guys that can really score the ball. He can shot fake you, get you in the air, get into you, get fouled, unlimited range. You try to press up, and he blows your doors off and gets into your post players where he's terrific in getting fouled. He is just a really, really a talented basketball player. I'll tell you something else that I've been impressed with him. He makes the right play. He's a good basketball player. And you see Marquette, and you see Villanova, and you see these others that try to do some things to him to negate, his ability to, get shots off. He throws the ball to people when they're open. And I admire that about him. Miles Powell's terrific. I've enjoyed watching him play. I don't know that I'll enjoy seeing him play at my team tomorrow.
Let's go on the right side here, and then we'll move to the left and back to the right.
Jeff Zilgate, USA Today. Mike, given what Fletcher McGee does is no secret, how has he been able to be so successful knowing teams are going to focus on his shooting game after game? And then, go back a few years, why was he such an important recruit for you?
The second question first. I don't know that any of us know coming in that, he's going to score 500 threes and 2,500 points. His high school coach, a great coach, Chris Mayberry, at First Academy, had been there a long time. If I had a nickel for every time I had a high school coach tell me the kids will be the hardest worker you've ever had, I'd have some money. And I respectfully, internally thought to myself, yeah, I've heard that again. Here we go. He is the hardest worker I've ever been around. To the point last week, I thought he was hurting himself. Sometimes you have to save him from himself. You need to take a break. All right, relax. Okay, we're practicing for an hour, hour and a half every day. You're in here at 7 to 8. You're over here again at night. And I said, I'm not telling you you have to sit down. You have to relax, because I know if I do that and you want to do it, you're still going to do it. But I'm telling you, you need to rest your body. Of course, I saw him later that night, and he's down there, and I said, see, I told you, that's why I didn't tell you not to do it. And he said, I'm just shooting foul shots and layups, just shooting foul shots and layups, not breaking a sweat. He's an animal in the best way. He is the finest young man. He's meant a lot to us, but, never in a million years did I think he would be this good. I mean, he is, and he's gotten bigger and stronger. As they all do. David Land, our strength coach, has done a great job with him in the year that he's been with us, and he better prepare to take a lick, and he'll take some licks tomorrow now with Cale and McKnight, those others that will be matched up with him. But he can get through that contact better now, and he's really worked on his handle and creating separation, and he gets in the air. He's a really good athlete. He is a much better athlete than most expect him to be.
Let's go in the aisle, and then we'll go to you next, sir.
Coach, it's been since March 12th since you guys figured out that you were secured the bid to the NCAA tournament. It'll have been a week since you guys played. What's just been the message to the team throughout the time of indecision, not knowing who you're going to play, and keeping the energy up during practices?
Yeah, Anthony, I get the impression that some people see it as a negative that, gosh, it's been 10 days since you played. Will you be rusty? I think it's the best. I mean, I love it to, have the opportunity to win that, know you're in, last Monday when we beat Greensboro. You go into the weekend not knowing who you're going to play and watch, friends sweat it out in their league tournaments, and then you find out where you're going on Sunday. I think the opportunity to collect your thoughts, decompress, rest up a little bit, get back and practice and work on Wofford and not be so concerned it's so repetitive. Preparation, play, to be able to take a step back and look at some other things with a critical eye and, work on those is, I think, is very, very beneficial.
Let's go left of the aisle here, and then we'll go back to the right.
Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. I'm not sure how well you know Kevin Willard. I'm just curious what your impression of the coaching job he's done this year after what he lost last year and what stands out to him.
I don't know Kevin at all. And I don't know Seton Hall very well, honestly. You hear all these projections, and they say this school, and then Seton Hall pops up. It's like, oh, gosh. But I've thoroughly enjoyed, he makes you uncomfortable. And I admire that. And matchup and 2-2-1 back to matchup and man-to-man and switch some things and not switch some things. Kevin he's exceptional. I mean, and I've seen him play. I don't know how many times I've seen him play now, but he's an awfully fine basketball coach. I'm sure the matchup is what his dad, employed at Pittsburgh and Holy Cross, and such a great coach. I wish my dad could give me some help. I talked to him last night, and I said, do you have any pointers? He said, yeah, get McGee and Jackson more shots. Thanks, Dad. Appreciate it. But Kevin is really, really good, and, there's a lot of things that go when I reference a great coach. A great coach to me is a team that plays really, really hard. And his team plays really, really hard, trying to get, a better understanding of Seton Hall and Kevin's team. Talk to some people, without divulging, great Big East secrets. Every one of them referenced how hard they play, and they will never stop. They keep coming. The physicality and toughness is a part of their game that I admire greatly.
Let's go here on the right side.
You
Yes.
had two near misses here.
I know you.
What comes to mind when you think about the past games here and then coming back as a higher seed?
0 for 4, bad coaching. And here we are again. I love coming down here, Todd. This is the 3 of the 5 years that we've been a part of this great tournament, been in Jacksonville. I love the city. I love the arena. And our 2, closest games were 2010 against Wisconsin. A tie game with a minute to play, and John Lure hits a short quarter jumper, and, we get beat, and a really good Arkansas team. We were a 12, they were a 5. Bobby Portis, Michael Qualls. We're right there, led for a lot of that game, if I recall correctly, 22 minutes of that game, and lost 56-53. There's a lot of things that make it the greatest tournament of them all, one of which is you're going to play somebody really, really good. And we're the 7th seed. I mean, that's a heck of a seed for anyone. I think the highest seed the Southern Conference team has ever achieved. And lo and behold, you got to play, Big East team Seton Hall that, just went nose to nose with the defending national champion. We know what's in front of us. I've got a really good team. You know that. And we're excited to be here. We're excited to take the floor tomorrow and get after it.
We've got time for one more, and we'll go here on the second row.
Clayton Freeman with the Florida Times-Union. What do you mentioned the games here with Wisconsin, with Arkansas. What do you feel that you were able to learn from those that can maybe help you adjust, or maybe to help you know what to tell the team to be prepared for, as far as what the arena is like, what everything from a preparation standpoint?
You know, I wish there was something, 3 things that I could give them. You're going to be faced with this. You got to be prepared to handle this. I can't. It's a bit different. All right. It is the NCAA tournament. We knew playing Greensboro that we were going to play again. Wherever that might be, we were going to do it again. Coming over here tomorrow and playing Seton Hall, there's some things on the line, and the media exposure and the arena and the crowd and all that. You rely on toughness, and you rely on experiences that you've had throughout the year at Furman, capacity crowd, and you find a way to win. At East Tennessee State, huge crowd, really good team, and you find a way to win. You rely on, internal leadership, and I have 3 guys in Cameron Jackson, Matt Pegram, and Fletcher McGee that have been through it, have had some great moments, and have had some moments that haven't been so great. And all of those experiences, culminate here in this tournament, and you just hope you can play another good ball game. I think a lot about that. I think, gosh, I hope we play well. We haven't played poorly we hadn't played poorly all year. Now, we got our tail kicked a couple of times. The wheels came off at Fall Allen Fieldhouse, but that's a tie game where we're right there with 10 to play. It's been a special team, and we know how well we have to play, and the toughness we're going to have to display, and the ball handling that we're going to have to carry into that thing tomorrow. If we expect to win.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
luck to you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. Good seeing you. See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Coming up, Belmont players will be here at 4:15. The Wofford practice officially at 4:10. 4:10, so you have about 13 minutes before practice. 4:15 for the Belmont players, 4:30 for the Belmont head coach. Thank you.
thinking about you the other day. You know how sometimes you'll call me when you're walking? I was out walking, I said, God, if I just had my phone with me, I would call Gene. That happened like 2 weeks ago. So how you been? Good. I think he keeps tighter of Belmont. Unfortunately, I got a lot of material yesterday, so I got about half an hour. How's the family? Good. She's doing fine, thanks. Doing fine. She's still over at Reeves? She sure is. Yeah. I keep saying, can we move? She's like, no, I love my job. I'm like, well, you work, so she's bringing in the paycheck, right? So yeah, so I'm just, sometimes you just zip it up and forget about it. Yeah. As Smitter says, we don't make the rules. Did you, obviously you're at the golf tournament. What'd you think? Oh, it was crazy good, wasn't it? Yeah. And the reason why, as a columnist, you got, the most global figure in the world outside of Tiger, and you got the local guy, Pure. Yeah. They did, so it's like me giving a lamb in basketball. My papers are stacking up. I haven't read anything since like Saturday. Really? See you soon. Same here. We got to do golf. We have to do golf sometime. Oh yeah. Okay. You got my number? I do. You guys are always busier. I went 10 minutes long. Oh my God, I haven't been there in years. Well, it's not going to be an 18-hole golf course forever. They're going to be reducing it to 12 holes once that. Really? Yeah. I mean, it could be another 2 years. Oh, okay. No, not within the next 3 months or whenever we would. It's in decent shape because they put some money into it. Yeah. It's not great, but I'm not interested in paying $125 to play golf. Here. Yeah. I'll pay 25 or 30 or whatever. Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'll see you later.
We're about 5 minutes away from Belmont players. 5 minutes until Belmont. 5 minutes, David Lamb. Thank you. We've got the Belmont players here with us now, Nick Musinski, Kevin McLean, and Dylan Windler. And it's been quite a whirlwind for these fellows. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. A reminder, please no video with cell phones. Photos are okay. If you have a question, we'll get you started. We'll start on the aisle right here in the middle.
For Nick, how have you prepared for the matchup with Bruno Fernando and Jalen Smith and just the physicality of it, bigs from the Big Ten, bring to the game?
That's kind of an everyday thing. I mean, the coaches are constantly trying to get me to play more physical, play tougher, play more active. So I think that presents an awesome challenge. They're both really talented, great players. And but that's something I need to work on this whole season. I think I've gotten better at it, but I still need to continue to work on it. So I think they just present even more challenge for me to kind of up my physicality and my activity defensively.
Gene in the middle, yes.
Gene Fournette from the Times-Union here in Jacksonville. Dylan, if a recruit is coming for a visit on your campus and that recruit asks you, tell me about Coach Bird, what are you probably going to be telling him?
I would just say, he's one of the most down-to-earth guys I've met. In recruiting, he's not throwing out this and that, trying to get you to come. He wants to talk to you about your life. He wants to get to know more about you. He's a very personable man, very honest, and he teaches you life skills that, you're going to take on with you for the rest of your life, something that you can't really take into account when you're picking a school. Those things really do matter, things off the floor as well as on the floor.
As a follow-up for Kevin, about 14 minutes to go in that game last night, and the TV cameras are catching Coach Bird losing his mind. I mean, he is on you guys. And how often does this? I mean, obviously you can't, coach can't do that like all the time, but did you feel like in that moment it was that his outburst did anything to provide a spark? Because it did seem like for a few minutes there, you guys really got out of kilter for a while there.
Yeah, definitely. Him just getting onto us just really put us back into gear, and just it helped us to get ready to fight for the last 14 minutes.
We'll go right here on the second row, and we'll get to Mark next, and we'll go here on the aisle third.
Clayton Freeman with the 4 times in 4. Kevin, obviously this is an experience pretty close to home for you, being at Hamilton. First of all, how many times have you been able to see games here? Have you ever had a game that you've been able to see here at the arena in Jacksonville?
No, I haven't. I came here a couple high schools and had little tournaments during the summer, but that's about it.
No college games here, though?
No college games.
What's it going to be like to have, I guess, closest thing to home away from home college setting and being here in the NCAA tournament?
I think it's great just to be back home, and hopefully some of my family and friends get to come to the game and support me.
Mark, and then we'll get to you next, sir.
Mark Long with AP. Just for all three of you, what kind of whirlwind has it been, and what's the schedule been like the last, 12, 16 hours for you guys, and anybody feeling any kind of tired legs or anything?
Yeah, it's definitely been a big whirlwind. Very quick turnaround, dealt with media after the game, and then straight to the hotel. Had about 20 minutes to pack our bags, got on the bus, hopped right on a flight, got back to the hotel 4:30 a.m. I think I got to sleep at 5, woke up at noon, got about 7 hours of sleep, had breakfast, did a little treatment, trying to keep our bodies right, and then now we're already over here, ready for another shoot-around. So very quick turnaround. It's definitely something that's can be hard to manage, especially with your body. I think a lot of guys experience tired legs playing 35-plus minutes. So, we're trying to just do everything that we can to keep our bodies right and keep our legs fresh, but it's definitely very hard. I think I drank 5 full bottles of water on the flight last night. So,
let's go third row on the aisle on this side. Yes, sir.
For any of the guys, Don Marcus from the Baltimore Sun. Coach Calipari just a few minutes ago called you guys the most dangerous team in America. A bunch of people, including Jay Billis, have picked you to beat Maryland. Does this sort of ruin your sort of being the underdogs and sneaking up on people?
It can for sure. You know, a lot of people have us, you know, winning a few games here. So, I mean, obviously we're the higher seed as far as, you know, a Cinderella. But, you know, I guess it can take away from that a little bit. But we know ultimately we're still the underdog. And, you know, we're just going to do everything we can to win and make it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So.
For Kevin or for Nick, do you take anything the last few years from what VCU did, what Butler did, and say, you know, I think VCU was an 11 seed and they went to the Final Four. Do you look at the history, recent history of mid-majors making that kind of run?
Definitely. That just shows like why the questions like why not us?
Let's go right behind you, sir. Gino?
A question for Nick. The game last night, 14-2 run by Temple in the first half, 21-5 run in the second half. What does it kind of say about your guys' collective mindsets that you didn't let a really bad spell get worse? That a really bad spell get worse?
Yeah, I mean, basketball's a game of runs, and we've been playing the game for a long time now. We understand that. I think this group is really tightly knit. We love to play. We love to play together. So we just understand that, you know, to weather that storm and to come back with, you know, even bigger run or just, you know, settling that run is critical, and just not letting it get out of hand, playing within ourselves. And sometimes we don't do that. We get outside the offense or something like that. But Coach Bird does a really good job of reining us back in and making sure we're all playing together, and we just kind of get it done, weather the storm, then just go continue to play Belmont basketball.
As a follow-up for any of you, in any kind of a lighthearted moment that you might have with Coach Bird, do any of you try to encourage him to expound on his wardrobe beyond the sleeveless sweaters?
You know, he sticks to it. I think he's had a lot of success with it. So, you know, that's him, and, you know, I'm all for it.
Any other questions? We'll go here across the aisle. Yes, ma'am, right here.
Really, just for any of you, what does it mean to be able to have, you know, two teams from your conference in the tournament this year, and to, you know, have a bit more mid-major schools in the field this year?
It just proves that mid-majors belong in the tournament, and further on in the history of NCAA, that mid-majors can make a big push in the tournament.
Go across the aisle there. We've got time for a couple more. Yes, sir.
For Nick, I know you guys have played Purdue early in the year, which obviously Maryland plays them on a regular basis, and you played UCLA, you beat UCLA. Is Maryland, in your eyes, what you see on tape, are they maybe the most physically gifted or talented team potentially that you've played?
If I'm being completely honest with you, we actually haven't watched tape yet. We're probably going to do that after we shoot around. We're going to walk through their stuff, and then we're going to go actually watch it to get like a good visual concept of what they do. But from what I've seen, yeah, I mean, they're long, they're physical, they're athletic, they're well coached, they're really good defensively. So those things can make it difficult, but I think there's a lot of similarities between teams like them and UCLA and Purdue, just with the way they defend, especially on the defensive end, and just kind of the way we have to attack that. So yes and no, I think that they're definitely up there. I don't know how they rank against UCLA or Purdue, but they definitely have their own strengths that make them a difficult matchup.
Let's go right behind you for one more here from Gene.
Question for Dylan. When you're not having a good scoring game like what was happening last night, how cognizant are you of that in the moment, and are you, at least mindful of the fact, hey, if I'm not scoring, I got to get rebounds, I got to get a steal, I got to do something to positively impact. So, and how comforting was it that Kevin picked that night to really go off and sort of make up for the void that you had from a scoring standpoint?
Yeah, it just shows how dangerous this team is. Basketball is, it's just like any other sport. You're going to have off days. The ball's not always going to go in when you shoot. It's just one game. And just knowing that, you have other teammates around you that can pick you up and score the ball when, one of us isn't scoring well. It happens to all of us. So, I always try to do anything I can to help my team win, whether that's getting rebounds, deflections, steals, anything that I can do. I'm always trying to help this team win. So, It's a team effort, and that's the beauty of basketball. It's a team sport.
All right, guys, congrats and good luck. Thank you very much. Coach Bird will be out in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes until Rick Bird. Thank you. Plus your knee on the left leg there. Coach Bird with us from Belmont. If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We've got him for about 10 or 15 minutes or so. Coach, if you could just start us off with a little statement here, the whirlwind for your basketball team to be here in Jacksonville today.
Yeah, it's been nonstop really since we were selected, and obviously it starts before then. We lose a championship game to Murray State, and it's a week long of speculation, and as I've said a couple of times, I would never choose it. We would like to beat Murray State every time we play them, but as it just turns out, that loss to Murray State has been a good thing for Belmont. I mean, the week-long talk about whether we should be in, and a lot of notable basketball analysts really making a case for us. So the attention that Belmont University and our basketball program got all week, and then got again when we were selected, and then had we won that championship, we would not be playing last night, and we'd have had a tough game right off the bat, and who knows if we'd ever won our first NCAA tournament. So in an odd way, losing the game, which is never something that I like in the least, turned out to be a good thing.
If you have a question, raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. We'll start off in the aisle here in the middle. Yes, sir.
John Calipari earlier called, this is Don Marcus from Baltimore Sun. John Calipari earlier called you guys the most dangerous team in America. How would you assess that?
Sometimes I think they're the most dangerous team to me. Last night there was about 3 or 4 times when I was really disappointed with the way that we were playing. You think John's got a little hyperbole in him every now and then, maybe. He's a great guy. I'm telling you, he's been a wonderful friend for no reason to me and our program. And so I think our team's at a point where there's probably not a whole lot of people that want to play us. But I'm sure Maryland's not really very scared right now. I mean, they've got plenty of good basketball players that the kind that we don't face, the length and the size and the athleticism. We just don't face that, but maybe once or twice a year.
And just to follow up on that, a lot of people are picking you guys to win. Jay Billis is, a number of national-type writers and broadcasters. Does that sort of take the surprise factor out of it, or in this day and age, are there no more surprise teams?
I didn't. The only person I would have heard pick us was the selection show. I heard Seth Davis say that. He's picked us before and been wrong. So, don't you think those guys have to pick a few upsets that's what they got to do? Otherwise, they wouldn't have shows. They just go by the seeds, and that's who they'd have. So, I'd like to think we're in the discussion, but they're a 6 and we're an 11, and they deserve that. They play in a rugged league, and they've been tested time and time and time again. We would be legitimately the underdog, but hopefully an underdog with a chance to win the game if we play well and they miss a few shots.
Question, raise your hand. We'll go here to the right side.
Coach Mark Long with AP. What is the concern with the short turnaround from a tired leg standpoint, all of that?
Yeah, that's a good question that I don't have an answer for. All these kids on both teams have played summer basketball, and they've played sometimes maybe even 3 games in a day, and then turn around and play 2 the next day, and all of that. I hope that when we go, we'll go out here and do shoot around stuff, and then we'll go try to prepare after that, and we will do nothing with speed, running, and hopefully we'll be fine. I think there's going to be a little adrenaline going, but we had some tired guys last night. There's no question about that. It's also a little tougher on the other end of the quick turnaround to play on a Saturday and then wait till middle of the next week after that to play. You're trying to keep them in shape, but try not to wear them out. And I don't know. It's not optimal. Nobody would choose it, but we would choose it rather than be on the bus back to Nashville right now, which is where we'd be if we'd lost last night.
In the aisle in the middle. Yes.
Coach Gene Fournette from the Times-Union. There have been reports in the past that you've had, a flirtation at one time with Tennessee, or at least discussions about that job. When you look back on your career, is there a comfort in satisfaction in having taken Belmont's program through NAIA, through D1 independence to where it is now, as opposed to having maybe had an opportunity to coach at a Power 5 school or at a higher level? Well,
by the time that I was, let's say, we made the tournament in 06, 07, and 08. And in 08, I would have been 55 years old. And any job I would have got at that level would have been one that you got to start over maybe, probably. And by the time you're that age, if you're at a place like Belmont and live in a city like Nashville, and quality of life is not more important to you than whatever level somebody thinks you coach at, then I don't think your priorities are very straight. So, yeah, I do feel a lot of satisfaction for what's happened with this program. I mean, 20-plus years ago, Dr. Bill Trout decided to take Belmont Division I. A lot of people thought that was not a very smart decision, and I think as we sit here today, it turned out to be a really good one, and I am thankful that I got to be part of that.
Here on the aisle one more time.
If you were just another basketball fan looking at your team and trying to figure out the bracket, would you pick Belmont to win?
In this game coming up?
In this game, or just in general? In the
tournament? I thought the Temple game was pretty much a toss-up kind of game, and in this game, I wouldn't pick Belmont to win. I mean, again, they're a 6th seed. The committee spent a whole lot more time than I have thinking about which team's better. It's not easy. We have to overcome a lot to beat a team, again, with the length and the athleticism and the physical size, and get good shots and keep them off the boards. There's a lot of extra kind of easy points that they can get on us. It's hard for us to get on them. It can happen, and we've had a lot of good big name wins over the years, just not in this tournament. So, no, if gun to my head, I would pick Maryland. We went to UCLA and won, and before that, and UCLA had a couple of they'd had a loss or two, but they'd beaten Notre Dame. They weren't falling apart at that point, and after us, they went to Cincinnati and Ohio State maybe, and got beat pretty bad, and then they were going downhill quick. But they have the kind of size, athletics. They've got very good players. I think that helps our team know that they can belong in a game. Purdue defended us really well, and if we hadn't made a little unbelievable 12 or 13-point run in 7-8 minutes to go in the game and cut it to 6 or 7, then it would have looked like a lot worse game than it was. They outplayed us, but it makes you better when you play good people, and that's why we've always been unafraid to schedule that way. I think by the time we get to January, we're tested and ready to play in the OVC.
Got time for a couple of more. Any other questions for Coach Bird? All right, let's get another one here.
Mark Turgeon's said that he goes back with you quite a ways to, I guess your Belmont was about to join the Atlantic Sun.
Right.
The fact that he has that, knows where you came from.
Right.
Does in terms of preparation from a coaching standpoint, do you think that he can get that message across, knowing, you know, where this team and where you sort of evolved from?
I don't think. I think that our program's at a point where you don't have to talk too much to your guys when you're a Power 5 team and say this team can do something, because this is our 8th trip since '06, and we've had some high-profile wins during regular seasons, but he knows his team and he knows how to do it. And this is the NCAA tournament, and if Maryland's not ready to play tomorrow because they're playing Belmont, then I'd be totally surprised. And just like him, disappointed. That, I mean, when you get here, this is what you try to do your whole life. They're young, really young. These guys are getting a chance. We had nobody had played in an NCAA tournament game last night. It was huge for our guys to be in that game and have a chance. They'll be the same way.
Final question here in the middle, Coach.
Coach Calipari, Gene Fournette. Coach Calipari talked about how you had a meeting with him last summer, just to visit about, you know, he just wanted to get some information, advice about offense from you. You did the same thing 2012 with UNF when Coach Driscoll and his staff came up there. How often have you had these types of meetings with other programs who just kind of want to glean some insight from your experiences at Belmont?
You know, without naming names, I'd say that over the years we've probably had, over the last 7, 8 years, 8 or 9 or 10 coaches come in from different levels, schools. We had one that came in and wanted to know how we defended, and I thought, well, this is the first time anybody's asked me that. You can come back anytime you want to if you think we defend good. Everybody else wants to talk offense, and John's just being kind. He knows what he's doing.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot. Good luck to you.
Thank you all. Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. The Belmont practice shoot-around is at 4:55, so that is some 13 minutes away. And we'll have Seton Hall here next at 5 o'clock, 5:15 for the Seton Hall head coach. Thank you. All right, folks, we're about 5 minutes away from Seton Hall players. 5 minutes for Seton Hall. Thank you. All right, we've got Seton Hall players with us, Quincy McKnight, Michael Enzi, and Miles Powell. One more final reminder, no video on cell phones. Photos are cool. That's fine. Raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you. And we've got about 10, 15 minutes with these gentlemen here. And we'll start off first question. If you have one, raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. If not, I'll get us started. So take us through the late season push here to get to the tournament, and now you're finally here. What's what the last few days been like coming from the tournament to now? Anybody can start. Go ahead.
At the beginning of the season, we had a goal as a team to try to get to the dance. So towards the end of the season, we had to give everything we had. So we had to do everything we could and play as a team and try to come to the dance. So we did that by winning the last couple of games and going into the Big East and making a run to the final.
That was part of that late season run, guys. We'll get to you in just a second. What was the toughest part of the last month or so of the season? You know you wanted to make that push and get in. What was the most difficult part?
Just having our backs against the wall and pretty much everybody doubting us. We knew what we had to do, and pretty much our season was on the line, and we just had to believe in each other and keep fighting, and that's pretty much been our story the whole year, just to fight.
All right, we'll go here in the aisle in the middle. Thank you.
Greetings, guys. What's this like? How is this different? You've been here before, especially you two guys. How is this different now that it's, your team? What's changed, or what's the feel from past years?
For me, it was easy following the four seniors. They did such a great job on and off the court of leading this program to the right direction. So, now the spotlight all on us three right here, and it's different. But, we're definitely ready for it. Our coaches prepared us for it, and we got each other's back.
Here on the second row, we'll get to you next, Clayton.
Mark Cannizzaro from the New York Post. This is for Miles. Can you talk about that fight a little bit? How much of that comes from Kevin, and can you talk a little bit about kind of his toughness and how that permeates through the team?
Just it being the Big East basketball, that's what it's all about. That was just a group of kids pretty much fighting for what they wanted, a championship, and we were just out there battling. It was nothing towards Marquette. It's all love at the end of the day. We talk to those guys off the court, but when we step inside those lines, we don't have friends, and we were just trying to get to a championship.
Kevin Willard, sorry about that, not Marquette.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
Coach Willard, he's a great guy on and off the court, but he definitely knows what he wants, and he has to push us to get to where we want to go. So we just follow our lead, Coach Willard lead, and he's been doing a pretty good job.
Let's go here on the right, and then we'll get to you next, sir.
Clayton Freeman with the Florida Times-Union. You had that stretch, about a month ago where you dropped 3 straight to Xavier, to St. John's, to Georgetown, where you're very much going toward the bubble, if not the wrong side of the bubble. What changed after that to get you to where you are right now?
The Georgetown game was a tough one for us, losing in double overtime. And I think it was just our fight. We knew our potential, the games that we have won previous in non-conference. We had a good non-conference. And just those 3 games, losing those was tough for us, but we knew that we could bounce back, and we knew we could make a run. And that's all Coach really pushed for, is to make a run. Last year with the 4 seniors, we were kind of in the same predicament where, we had to win a lot of games to make it to the tournament. And we just fight. That's what we've been. That's our motto has been all year. Just keep fighting, and that's all we really did, was just keep pushing.
Go on the far left over here, yes, sir.
New Post. Miles, when we were in New York at the Big East tournament, you obviously went on a tear there, and you really embraced just everything that the tournament was, the sellout crowds and the attention and everything. And I guess even though you've been to the tournament before, how much more are you looking forward to this opportunity to really putting your mark on this event?
Like I said, the past 2 years I've been here, I pretty much had the seniors to lean on. So, I was just following Angel's lead. But this year, the guys are leaning on me for the emotional part and just following my lead on the court. So, it's kind of different when everybody's following your lead.
Any other questions? We'll put your hand up. We'll get a microphone to you. Got a few minutes left with these gentlemen. Clayton, you go for
it. Okay, Clayton Freeman with the Times Union again. You obviously, last time out, Villanova, you had a very difficult, very draining kind of game emotionally. How do you come back from that emotionally, going after a stretch where you've just beaten, in the last a 10-day stretch, you beat a defending national champion, you beat a top 20 team twice, and you lose by 2 to a national champion. How do you get back into something, into a routine where things are kind of a little more, where you keep the momentum going in the right direction, but you also don't burn out?
I think it's all about preparation. We have a great coaching staff that's worked with us all summer to get us mentally prepared for the ups and downs of the season. So the season's a grind. So sometimes you get down, you have to pick yourself back up. Like during the biggest tournament, we had to play back-to-back nights. So it's just the toughness in us and the support from our coaches that kept us going.
We'll go in the aisle and then right in front of you after that.
JP Pelsman, Rivals.com. Q, I just want to ask you how, I know we've talked about this during the season, but what was it like for you to have to kind of, change your game coming from Sacred Heart and then sitting out last year? How was that mentally and physically to change kind of your style to be less of a scorer and more of a distributor?
It didn't really change my style. High school, my last year in prep school, I played point guard a lot. And then I got to Sacred Heart my freshman year, and I played a little bit, but I wasn't coached as well as Coach Willard has, and we didn't have a good coaching staff as we have now. And it's just preparation, like Mike has said. My year that I sat out, I worked a lot with Coach Holloway, Coach Willard, everybody just worked with me. And then we got Coach Skin came in this past summer, Coach Forty, guys like that, and they just kept working with me. And Coach Skin he's a great point guard. He played a lot. He played professionally. He's just a great point guard, great mentor for me. And basically just being, just I don't even know the word to explain. Just being able to adapt. We got Miles, a guy who could score. Who everybody knows could score the ball. And my guys, they just kept with me and just told me keep pushing and just fight, really, and that's really what it was. I'm a good player, and I think I'm real versatile, so I just focused on just being a distributor over the summer and just working on everything, and I think that's really why I'm playing the way I am.
Next question in the aisle, yes.
Again, from the Asbury Park Press, it seems like you guys in the Big East haven't gotten a lot of respect nationally this year. What kind of an opportunity is this for you guys to change that narrative?
I mean, at this point, we as a team, we didn't get a lot of respect going into the season, but we're only looking at what we have within us. So we just out here ready to continue to prove and show people what we could do. So we're really just worried about ourselves as a team and just trying to get the job done.
Any other questions? We'll get a microphone to you. Last chance. All right, guys, good luck. Appreciate it. We'll have Coach Willard out here in just a few minutes. He is scheduled for 5:15, so about 7 minutes from right now, Coach Willard will be here. Thank you. The locker room is open for Seton Hall, by the way. Thank you. All right, we've got Coach Willard with Seton Hall with us for the next 10, 15 minutes before practice, the final press conference of the day. Coach, if you could just start us off with some general thoughts about the stretch run here and being back in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I'm really proud of my team, the way we've played really since February 9th. We've really been playing aggressively defensively. We've been playing great together. Miles Powell has been absolutely off the charts. But I think, I've been proud of my sophomores have really grown up. Quincy McKnight has given us such a spark defensively. And our guys coming off the bench, I just think have been so steady. We've gotten such great production. Shavar Reynolds has given us big minutes. Romero Gill has really grown up. Jared Roden and Anthony Nelson, my two freshmen, I've been so happy with their development. So, and we had 3 great games in the Big East tournament, and had a great shot to win it with the right guy taking it, and just really proud of getting back to this point. 4 years in a row. It just shows you a lot about the character of the kids on this team and the leadership of Miles Powell, how much he's meant to this team and how much he's grown.
We'll hear in the third row to start us off.
AP Pelsman, Rivals.com. Congratulations, obviously. And you mentioned him when you were running down the roster just now, but how much have you been impressed and also appreciative of the way Q has kind of sometimes had to sacrifice his own offense to, number one, play so hard on the defensive end, always guarding the other team's best guy, and the fact that he's become so much of a distributor rather than looking to score the ball himself that often?
Yeah, I think the most important development for Q is I think he's found a nice balance about when to score and when to be a developer, a facilitator. And it's hard. He works as hard as anyone I've seen on the defensive end. He takes a lot of pride in it. He takes up the challenge that he's had to play against Marcus Howard, Phil Boos. The list goes on of the guys he's had to guard. And I love the fact that he accepts those challenges and he looks forward to it. Offensively, I think he's really grown at the point guard spot. And it's just he's a major reason why we're here.
Let's go on the far left side, please.
Howie Kasoy, New York Post. Kevin, you mentioned Miles, obviously, and you would have confidence in him, I'm sure, no matter what. Over 3 years, you've watched him, and this year, obviously, in a much different role. But to see how he's played over the past, down the stretch, carrying you, and obviously in the Big East tournament, I guess, how much better does that make you feel? And I guess, how much are you looking forward to seeing what he could do, kind of just embracing the spotlight that's going to be on him?
Yeah, I saw, I think last year going into the NCAA tournament, I really started to see him gain the confidence that you're now seeing. And I saw it, and I think the older guys last year really kind of pushed him in the I thought he had a great NCAA tournament last year. And the way he's kind of willed this team over the last 2 weeks, we've had a really stressful last 2 weeks. The 2 home games against Marquette and Nova, and then obviously the 3 games in the Big East tournament. The way he's handled that, his maturity, his leadership has been phenomenal. And, it's, but more than anything, I think, he really challenged himself to play at a high level. And sometimes it's easy to lead, and sometimes it's great to be a guy that can pat someone on the butt and say, great job, but he stepped up to the plate and he has played out of this world. And I think the way he has played with his confidence, that has trickled down to all the other guys, and they feed off him. And he just deserves a ton of credit for the amount of as much as he's worked this year and as hard as he's played. He's just been spectacular, Howie.
Third row, yes, sir.
Kevin.
HR.
When you constructed the non-conference schedule, how much of it was geared toward this moment, and how did you know that your team was ready to handle that?
Scheduling has become really difficult, and I didn't know about the net when I did I was going off the RPI when I did our non-conference schedule, so I wasn't quite sure when they changed to the net. it kind of threw me for a loop because, you know, home losses really hurt you. The amount of score hurts you. I did a non-conference schedule because I looked at the league and I knew the league was going to be really good, but I thought it was going to be exactly the way it was this year. I thought it was going to be extremely balanced, top to bottom. I didn't think we were going to have Nova 1 seed, Xavier 1 seed, Butler 4. I mean, last year was, I mean, we were packed at the top. And so when I looked at the league in the non-conference, I really thought we needed to play some teams that were going to be from leagues that are going to really help our RPI. And that's kind of the way I looked at the non-conference schedule was I had a young team that I wanted to test and I wanted to be Big East ready. And I thought that we needed help through the RPI with our non-conference schedule, strength of schedule, and that would help get us to this point. And I still think it did. I think our non-conference schedule was phenomenal. And I think it helped grow this team and make them not only ready for this right now, but, you know, most importantly for the future. I mean, I look at this team going forward, and, you know, I'm excited, just as excited about that as I am being here right now.
About 5 minutes left. Yes, sir.
Hey, Ed.
Just to follow on Jerry's question, do you think you'll continue to do that scheduling in the future? And
no.
Do you know if you'll play Kentucky in future years? Do you think you might play them?
I really don't want to play Kentucky again. I'm changing our non-conference schedule. I think I just looking at what seeds happened, where people ended up. It didn't seem like league schedule mattered as much as some of your losses at home or some of your point spreads. So I think I'm definitely going back right now, and I'm looking at my schedule, see where I can balance it out a little bit more. I'm still trying to get a feel for, because seeding is everything in this tournament. You know, I mean, you know, we're a 10 and Wofford's a 7, and I think they should be a 5 or a 4, looking at their schedule and who they've played and how they've played. So I'm looking at more or less, you know, I'm dissecting it will not be as difficult as it was last year. It'll be much more balanced, hopefully.
Any other questions? Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Last call. Coach, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That'll do it for press conferences today. Thank you very much. We'll see you here tomorrow for the first round here in Jacksonville at VyStar Veterans Memorial Arena.